Hello everybody, back again. This time I'm finishing off DIY Audio's MOSFET amp, the F6 Nelson Pass design. Again, I started this some time ago and very nearly completed it, and if you followed my first series on the Aleph J, I'm intending to use these in the same chassis, and I'm going to decant the Aleph J and install these so I can have a single case power supply, but I can use different power amp modules. So this is nearly complete, but a few words of note. As with my previous builds, I've got a schematic here, and as I install components, 2 ticks, 2 boards. So as I put a component in, I tick it off, tick it off, tick it off, tick it off, tick it off. And yet again, you can see that Q3, Q4, the 170 and the 74 haven't been installed. Neither have the output devices Q1, Q2. So if we look at the board, if it will focus for us, yeah. So we have Q3, Q4, Q1, Q2. They haven't been installed yet. Everything else has been installed. And on the forum, there was some notes that was put forward and suggested that it was better, and I can't remember the exact details, it was better to use, I think you can drive the bias a bit harder, a 6.2 volt Zener and a 3K3 instead of the 10K. You could also use an LM329 in this position. I haven't. And the same in this position. The actual part number is 1N4735 for this Zener. Which is installed here, just here, and there's the 3.3K resistor. This end's the same. There's your Zener Z1, and there's a 3.3K resistor in there. So apart from that, everything is as stock. There's no tweaks or modifications been done to this. It's just the bare bones of the amplifier via Mr. Pass's design, plus a little bit of DIY audio added. And here's the bill of materials. Very simple. There's not a lot of components in it, but 6L6, I believe 6L6 done this again. He mentions Z1 and 2. You can drive up to 6.3 volts with this device. Pretty straightforward, really. Setting up the bias, we'll be going through that. P2 is the bias. We'll start off with 500 millivolts if we can, something like that's an amp. And I'll be hoping taking the case to around about the 50C, 55C, which equates to 150 watts per device. It does run very hot, and the offset is tweaked by the offset pot. So, no further ado. I have in front of me, as always, the bits that I need to install. I've separated. They're a bit of a swine to see. I don't know whether this will focus, but there's the 74Bs, and they go in Q4. And these are the 170s, and these go in Q3. don't know whether that's got it, but anyway. So it's simple as this. What we're going to do, we've just got to spread the centre pin slightly from the outer two. This is Q3, so we pick up our PCB. It's a little bit tight. I should have fitted these earlier, but I didn't have them. I've been waiting for these for some time to come from the States. These were bought from DIY Audio. Matched quads. So I'm just going to drop him in there. And we know that Q4 is the 74. So we'll take the 74. Same, we just bend that leg back a little bit. And we need intimate contact between the two. Most people tie them together with a zip tie. But a little bit fiddly to get in here. Don't know if you can see that on the shot. But it's just a matter of tweak, little line up the holes with the legs, and in she goes. Like that. And there's just a little bit of teasing. Drop it down, tease, until such time as they align and face each other like little soldiers. And at that point I just bend a leg, and you can see, if you can, not very good because this output transformer is in the way, it keeps focusing on that. But at that point, what I'll do now, let me cable tie, loop the loop, and tie these two together. It is a bit fiddly. As I said, I should have, and probably this cable tie is a bit too big, but there are others that actually put a bit of heat paste between the two devices, so that you get a much better thermal contact between the two. But there they are, they're pretty stable there. So we do a little bit of soldering. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6. Beautiful. I don't know if that's you can see that. There we go. The solder's flooded through, little weld up nicely. So we've got a good connection there. And I'll just trim off this excess. I'll just give this a little tug. The zip tie. Not quite on there correctly, is it? Forgive me, this is taking a bit of a time, but it's a bit fiddly. But there we go. That's it. I might have to use a pair of pliers to hold this. Put it around the other way. Put it around the other way would be much easier. There we go. That's it, one click. Lovely. So they're firmly tandem together. Lovely. This autofocus camera is not performing very well. Oh, there we go, got it now. So that's that one complete, apart from the output devices. This is Q4, and on this board, which is the B board, they're ran the opposite way, these JFETs. So the 74, which is Q4, goes this side this time. Again, I don't know whether you can see that. Goes this side. In we pop. And the 170, the LSK 170, goes opposite. So I've just tweaked the legs. I don't know whether this will be in focus on camera or not. God, this thing won't focus. Well, I'll do it at a distance anyway and show you afterwards. So there he is. So before I go mad, I'm just going to double check again on fastidious check, double check. So Q4 should be a 170B. Sorry, Q4 should be a 74B. Q4, 74B, and the Q3 should be a 170. So that is correct. So a little soldering exercise again. Just a few, it's almost milliseconds, isn't it? We're on there. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So again, we'll give them a little tweak in a second to line them up. That's lovely. We got another zip tie here. I'll just tease them into position with me pliers rather than force with a zip tie. Well, there you go, they're there. So there we go. So we've now installed those. I can confidently tick off both of those, both installed on both boards. So the only thing remaining, the other point of note is these resistors are 11. Which are these? And they say 47 ohm. Well, on again DIY audio, they're suggesting anywhere between 40 or 50 ohm and 650, something like that, and I just happen to have 332 ohms. So that's what I've installed on here. That's where they are. That's their locations, there and there. So other than that, those boards, apart from the output devices, are complete and ready to go in the chassis. A bit of wiring. I will make up a harness as I did previously on the Aleph J, and that will be a simple bolt in, power up, set up and test. So this is the Aleph J amp that we've completed, but as stated in my last video, part 4, this power supply and case is going to be a universal type affair, and I'm going to be able to swap out. This is the Aleph J, and I'm going to be swapping them out for the F6, which there's going to be some detail on in another video, but for now I'm going to whip this one out. I've undone all the screws, disconnected the leads, power leads, signal socket, speaker socket, disconnected this lot here, so it's just a matter of just gently, oh there you go, releasing these like that, and the whole thing comes out. I'll be saving these seal pads for use again, and I will put those on a little piece of plastic. There you go. This is a slippery little sucker, this one, isn't he? There you go. So I'll save these to be used again. They will be cleaned up. I'll get my rag. Just a little clean. In actual fact, look at that. This one's split in half on its own. Okay. Give this a clean. Lovely jubbly. Now obviously the MOSFETs on the J board are in a different location, and it is advised that the MOSFETs are at the bottom of the heatsink. So this is the bottom of the case, so the MOSFETs are going to go one here and one there. So I have to clean off this anodized bit so we get a intimate contact with a seal pad. So that's going to be my next job. Bit boring, so we'll come back later. As before, and yeah, mine's a slight smear everywhere, just like that. The smear on here, smear on here. Line up the seal pad. Line up this one. Again, we'll come back once it's all in situ. We'll clean all that off, that residue. I'll just clean me mitts so that we can push on. I have a tube of appropriate MOSFETs. Need two. As is my way, I just gently take any burrs off the back. Perfect. Sorry, keep knocking this camera. IRFP 240s. These come out of a batch of a tube of 25, and I bought these via a colleague on DIY.com, and he assures me they're matched. I will take his word on it. It's not critical. I've read on many occasions that these aren't overcritical, unlike the JFETs, which are on the outboards themselves. They are critical within 10%. But we're going to, as before, turn up the legs. Just like that. On this occasion, this thing runs steamingly hot. Let's get a little bit of grease on there. A smear, that's all that's needed. Bear in mind there's a smear already on the seal pad. Slightest little smear. And the fiddly bit, we've got to line up the fixing screws through everything. I know it's there. There it is. Yeah, I got him. Now this one. This one's going to be a bit fiddly. I have to use an Allen key to get this one aligned and screwed up. But initially, a little twiddle with the fingers just to get the thread started. On this one, we can use the long reach. I'm not going to over tighten it away straight away. This one, I've got a ball end. This is a ball end, so this might just do it. There again, it might not. Let's see. Yep, we're away. Again, I'm not going to over tighten it, just align everything up. And then we're going to offer up the board. Almost perfect, isn't it? So we're going to I'm just going to drop a couple of little screws in to make sure the board's going to stay in place, just to make sure everything is aligned. So now I can go ahead and really torque these down. Like that. That one's a little bit more difficult. So I've soldered on the harness as I did in the Aleph J video. I've got a signal wire here. We've got an in and a ground. So you've got the ground, speaker ground, power supply ground, power supply plus, minus, orange is speaker out. So with all that in place, now I don't know whether we have, or there we go, we have everything on video with regard to the installing of the MOSFETs, but in effect it's a copycat. We've only got two, but it's a copycat of the Aleph J. I'm just going to give it a bit of a clean up. I've checked and double checked that the MOSFETs are on nice and tight. They're not going to move. All the legs line up. We're just going to drop it on. I will drop a little screw in just to make sure it's located. Before I solder the legs of the MOSFETs. This isn't the screw I'm going to use to keep the board in place. It's just a location bit out. So yes, I've got to just solder these legs of these MOSFETs on now. Wire up the harness and the signal here, just a short one, and we'll be ready to rock and roll and have a set up. So I'll be back after that. So now we swapped out the the AJ board for an F6, same chassis, same power supply, 24 volts. I've dialed these on to 0, I think, so this is the first time power up. I'm just checking in my mind everything's right. We've got red to red, green to green, blue to blue. It says negative, 0, positive. We've got a signal cable in. This is the simplest circuit in the world, but apparently one of the nicest. Here we go, see if we get any pops, bangs, whistles. Nothing. We got no smoke. We got the LED is on. Don't know if that's visible. I'm across this 0.47 resistor. There's a little tiny bit of bias on here. Little tiny. We'll worry about the offset later. I'm just going to give it a few seconds to make sure nothing's going to go bang. It's all good so far. So as they say, shit or bust. This is the bias. I don't know which way I've got to go. Clockwise. Nothing clockwise. Nothing yet. Ah, there we go. So this, you'll notice I've just twiddled that and it's rocketing away on its own. It charges this cap. So you have to wait for the cap to catch up, in effect. So it's a very gently, softly, catchy monkey type of affair. Blimey, we're already at 238, 240. I've only given it a little tweak. So that just shows you the lag. I'm aiming for about 500. Slowing down now. So cap's charging. I can't remember which way I was going now. Clockwise, I think. No, it's got to be anti-clockwise. Anti-clockwise increases. So it's just gently. I'm looking to achieve. Hang on a minute. Oh, there you go. I'm looking to get around about the 500 here, or half a volt. Just wind it, it says 400. Gently, leave it to settle. I'm going to just leave it there for a second. What I'm going to do, I'm going to move over to the offset. So I'll take the lead off of here and go on the speaker terminals. Bit fiddly, bear with me. I can do it from this side, I think. If I can get on here. Oh, so that's across the speaker terminals. And this pot here, we've got 700 millivolts. I don't know which way I've got to go. Oh, that's the wrong way. So this is clockwise, we'll be decreasing it. And again, I think this is a balancing act between the bias and the offset. So I'm just bringing that down, bring this down to 0. Or as near as damn it. Jumping about a bit there. That's okay, that's good. The fact that we can get very close is oh, it's too far, going too far the other way now. Oh, yeah, whoops. It's just a little bit fiddly. Whilst this, it takes a while for this F6 to stabilise. Takes a few minutes, even after switch on, it takes a little while. So that's 10. I'm going to leave it there. We're going to go back to see what our bias is across this resistor. .89. So let's give it a bit what for and take it up to the 5. Okay, I'm going to leave it at that. As before, we're at 500 millivolts, 520. See how it just it runs away, but I'm not too fussed about it. Again, 10 minutes, 34 degrees, 34 degrees, something like that. So I'm just going to leave that for some time, 20 minutes thereabouts, and we'll be back. So we've been on 20 minutes, half an hour, something like that. I've a little drink. Temperature wise, 40 degrees, 38, 40 degrees. The offset has crept up now, so I'm just going to bring that back. Little tweak. Gently, gently, slowly, slowly. Wrong way, wrong way. Come back. Come back. Whoop, 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 whoop. So there we are. Let's check our bias. So that's crept up a bit as it warms up. Well, that's quite stable. .40 degrees. Heat sinks 35, 36. Way to go yet. So I'll give this another half an hour. But I'll probably increase this to 600 millivolts. Be back soon. We've got 40. Get on. It's about 40 degrees. If I can hold it still, 45, 42 on the heat sink, 44 this side, 39, 39, 39, 39. So about 40 degrees, and it's been about half an hour. So I'm going to give this another tweak. I'm going to take this up to 600 millivolts. So I'll give this another tweak. It's been another half an hour. We're at 570, going to go up to 600. So it's a little tweak and wait. And we wait. So that there. We got, what's that? 45 degrees, 47 degrees. Getting there, aren't we? So I'm going to leave it at that. I'm just going to check the offset. Probably that'll need adjusting. Yeah. So it's this balancing act. As you adjust the bias, the offset needs to be tweaked back as you increase the bias as the temperature goes up. That will tweak. This takes a little while to stabilise. Gently, gently, gently. Gone too far. Back. Even with a 20 turn pot, this is very fiddly, you have to be so gentle. There we go. So it's well under 10 millivolts, happy with that. We're at 600 of bias. Yeah, so I'm happy with that. I'm going to give it another 10 or 15 minutes.